Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Charlotte Chong, joined by Khoo, Chuang. Now we have about three weeks to go before we start a brand new year 2016, but we still don't see a strong catalyst yet to boost the market.
Where's value cap? I want to find out where value cap is.
Value cap.
They're supposed to be buying, but I haven't seen them buying.
Well, CASIA actually closed down 10.71 points today, or 0.7% to 1,648.65 points. We are on our third day of losses this week. Volume was at 2.07 billion, worth about 1.94 billion ringgit. Now, top losers, we saw Red Sena, Tenaga. Red Sena, we're going to talk about it later. Tenaga Astro. Top gainers were overseas EG Industries, Excel Force. Now, what happened in the regional market? You have been tracking the regional markets today, right?
We saw how oil, basically the OPEC, the big oil boys have been meeting. They have refused to back down from the production capacity. So you saw oil get pummeled a couple of days ago. That precipitated a huge commodities slump. We saw how some of the biggest miners in the world cutting staff, cutting dividends, very concerning for the commodities market. So as a big producer ourselves, obviously naturally we also cut part of the slump.
You're right. Actually, OPEC sat down in a meeting last Friday, and they are not planning to cut the production. Now, when we look at the regional markets, Asian markets mostly down today. Nikkei 225 down 1.32%. Shanghai Composite down about 0.49%. Actually, if we come back into Malaysia and look at the GDP figure, what's actually happening in Malaysia?
Well, third quarterly downtrend. We saw how in Malaysia, real GDP is going to slow down to 4.5% in 2016. In the first three quarters, 5.7% growth in Q1, 4.9% in Q2, 4.7% in Q3, and then 4.5% in 2016. So downwards.
Let's move on to Hotstocks of the day, Red Sena Bhd. Just now we mentioned a little bit. It actually closed 25% down to 37.5 cents today. It went down to an intraday low of 37 cents today. It's the country's first non-oil and gas SPAC, but it's the last country to be listed in Bursa, Malaysia this year.
The last IPO of the year. And it's not as if IPOs have done really well for 2015 in Malaysia. Not in the first place did we have a lot of IPOs. So I think only BioAlpha was among ended up in positive territory for the day.
Malakov was down. Badly,
Dolphin was up. Sedania was down. Xinhua was up. So it's like a bit of a roller coaster ride for IPOs. Not a great year for IPOs. You have to really be very courageous and very confident about your business to list in 2015.
I think generally 2015 is not a very good year for company to list in Bursa, Malaysia. But let's come back to Red Sena. This company actually issued about 800 million new shares, and the public issue was oversubscribed by about 4.49 times, which is quite high. Raintree F&B Sena Bhd is a promoter and substantial shareholder of Red Sena, and this company actually has a lot of top-notch from F&N Holdings Bhd. Their CEO Joseph Tan Eng Guan was actually the former CEO of F&N Holdings Bhd.
So with the money they raise, they're going to be they're going to be buying assets in ASEAN. So this includes Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. This is a 600 million population region. So you have to imagine, as people's salaries go up, they're going to be buying more packaged consumer goods. What is interesting about Red Sena, though, is that they're open to buying stuff, whether in manufacturing, whether in distribution, or whether it's just in branding. So that's interesting. They don't even have to be involved in a company which makes the stuff. They can just do branding.
From a different point of view, I think SC, they are quite upbeat about food and beverage spec, because they have actually rejected some of the spec listing this year, which include this plantation spec called Cemara Palmia Holdings Bhd. And Cemara was actually the fourth spec to be turned down by the SC since 2009. Now let's move on to stocks with momentum. Today we have Comfort Gloves Bhd. It actually went up 3.01% to 85.5 cents today, and this company formerly known as Integrated Rubber. This company was in the news recently because it actually exited from PN70 status on July 13 this year after it reported a few quarters of black.
This is the third name change for what was used to be known as Integrated Rubber. The fact that they call themselves Comfort Gloves, does that mean that these hospital gloves are uncomfortable to wear in the first place? But they've been doing all the right stuff. They do 2 billion pieces of gloves a year. Charlotte give or take 1 or 2 pieces. They gives them a 1% global market share, which in a normal circumstance is quite good. But then it's nothing compared to the top gloves of this world who have a 25% global market share. You have to imagine with a strong US dollar, whether or not these guys are posturing for perhaps a beauty contest to be a target for the big boys.
But I think they're definitely a beneficiary of the strengthening
of the strong US dollar.
US dollar, and currently they have their clients are in key markets such as Europe, the United States, and Australia. Now, sorry, I forgot to mention about this stock actually pegged as positive momentum by the Edge Research. And we'll look at the financial balance sheet. Their cash was at 18.6 million ringgit with short-term borrowings of 4.6 million ringgit. So this company is actually considered debt-free.
Well, kind of debt-free. They still have 4.5 million, but profit margins are about 12% now, up from 5% earlier. That means they must be doing some stuff well on the efficiency front. The MD and single largest shareholder, a man called Chong, owns about 27% in this company. He was part of the new management team that was trying to turn around the former entity. And he's kind of done well, right? In the last quarter, few quarters, he's showed some profit track record, which is why they're now out of PN17.
Yeah, net profit actually up about 733.3% to 5 million. Revenue up 48.8% to 57.3 million ringgit. Now, when we look at the glove market as a whole, do you think they can actually compete with big boys like Hartalega, Supermax?
If they deliver on the promise from the chairman Lim Boon Huat to carve a niche with rubber, which is quite a tough thing to do. But if they do carve a niche for themselves in certain sectors, I'm not sure what, because hospitals, maybe some surgical thing, or they could be gunning for a buyout from one of the bigger firms. Top Glove have not been afraid of buying stuff, as they've been proven to have done in the past.
Just to wrap it up, year-to-date shares up 30% to 87 cents, pegged as positive momentum by the Edge Research. This company actually exited from PN17 status on July 13th year after posting a few quarters of net profits.